You're listening to Destination University, a podcast for college-bound teens and the parents, mentors, and educators who support them. If that is you, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Welcome to episode number 77. Test prep, AP scores, grades, and the future of quantifiable data. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, author of the book Tips, Tales, and Truths for Teens. Welcome to Destination University. By being here today, you are growing the community of informed families across the nation. Thank you for joining the movement. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have Candice Lapin here with us today. She's the founder and CEO of the Ladder Method. We've had her on the show before, and she knows everything there is to know about making a plan and getting yourself organized. And so if you didn't catch episode number, I believe she's number 29, be sure to catch that even after listening to this episode. But Candice and I were recently on a Dream College Academy. She was a guest panelist for Dream College Academy for Module 1, all about AQs, academic qualities. And it gave me the idea of really having a deeper dive, because not just those students need to know this information, but so many families are having this very question across the country, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, what is happening, test optional, test blind, what does this mean for now and for the future of college admissions? So I knew Candice was just the one, and she happily said yes. So you're in for a treat. Grab your beverage of choice, and if you're old school like me, grab a pen and paper, because you're going to want to take notes. So welcome back, Candice. How are you doing today?
I am great. So happy to be here. Thank you for that introduction. I'm always happy to be on your podcast or the Dream Academy.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you were so great. And those dreamers, they are motivated teens, and they were asking really great questions. But it's true that, of course, everyone is asking the question, what is happening? I should, before we launch in there, for those who didn't hear your first episode, which, by the way, do you know that was in 2019? And yes, that was in 2019. And you are officially episode number 2 for season 4. You're officially episode number 77. So,
wow, I'm so thrilled. I feel like I was part of the baby phases of what's become a big movement.
You were, and you said yes then, and it was so great. But for those who didn't listen to you the first time, give us the brief version of your journey to college, sort of get us to speak to where you are now, because it's a great story, and our listeners should know. So let's start there.
Sure. So the irony, and what I bring up to a lot of kids, is that the reason I really do this is that I had great grades in high school. I was a really hard worker, but by the time I got to my college counselor at my high school, she basically painted a very bleak picture of where I was going to get in, which was shocking. I was like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Why didn't anyone, what are you talking about? I had 2 ideas in mind. 1, I wanted to go back east for school. And 2, I was going to try to see if I could get into an Ivy League college. And what she said to me was that was impossible. So I was, of course, pissed. I'll be honest. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I was really upset. So I went home to my mom that afternoon and I said, get me a private college counselor. This woman has no idea what she's talking about. And, for those of you who are not, I was thinking about this last night as I laid in bed. I was kind of a very confident, very assertive teen. Right. And if you're not like that, I totally get it. But I want to tell you that if you're not, this story will help you, because you'll see where I'm going. So essentially, I go to the new college counselor off campus, and she told me a couple things. 1, that the reason why the college counselor had told me this kind of bleak view was that she wanted to maintain my expectations at a level, right? But also because, and I didn't know this at the time, I was going to be competing against my classmates for all of the schools. And so she wanted to make sure her numbers were good, because she has to look good for her high school and for her employer, which is the high school. But the college counselor outside said, where do you want to go? I said, I want to go to a Big Ten school if I can't get in somewhere back east. I mean, those were my ideas. And I said, and I want to apply to an Ivy League school. She said, great, here are my ideas for you. Columbia, but not Columbia. Let's apply to Barnard because it's a smaller all-girls college. You'll still be on the Columbia campus. 2, Cornell. And because you like this idea of a big school and it's got a big campus. And I was like, oh my God, well, I'm still in New York, so I'll do it. And guess what? I got in. I got into both of those schools, by the way, people. So it's so important that students hear this. It doesn't mean, and as a person that works with teens, it doesn't mean you're always going to get in, right? The field has also changed. It's become more competitive. But because I'll be honest, I don't know if I'd get in today with the stuff that I was dealing with. But back then, I'll say I got into those schools, and then what it taught me was we need to be asking better questions. We need to be preparing kids earlier for these types of things so that they can make better choices, right? And that you're not listening. Basically, I went and I got a second opinion.
Yes.
And so that's really important. I think it's really, what people don't realize is you can really make what you want happen. And I think the kind of cool thing I tell the kids that we work with is really my bigger idea was I wanted to go back east, and I wanted the school to have all these beautiful qualities, right? Back east, leaves changing in the fall. I like to be in New York. So like, what was going to give me the essence of that? And then find the colleges around the country that would give me the essence of that experience. It didn't even need to be Ivy League. So that's what I tell kids. Don't get hung up on like the brand. It's about what's the essence.
Okay. So I told you, if you're old school, you've got pen and paper like I do.
Yeah.
And Candice just dropped several bombs. So let me just recap so that you can take notes properly. First of all, this is a great way to set up our conversation about AQs, academic qualities.
Yes.
If you missed it, hear us. So Candice went to a private school. I did not, but I worked at a private school. And that is when I realized what she said. You are competing from amongst your peer group from your high school. Okay.
Right.
Repeat that. The biggest competition you have are those other students from your class, your graduating class, that will be also applying to those same colleges you are applying to. So that's the first aha moment. And if you're a Dream College Academy alumni, or you have the course, that's all on module number 1. Number 2, be open and or get a second opinion. I love that you knew exactly what you were sort of looking for, and you even said right now, you said, those were my ideas. I mean, they're teenagers. We don't completely know, but you kind of know, like, I wanted leaves falling, if not Big Ten school. And your second opinion was right on the money. Barnard, which I love, I worked at, and Cornell, which is the right fit for you in terms of the Ivy Leagues, right? People don't think that the Ivy Leagues are different. They're very different.
Very different, very different. I know, because I visited most of them.
Yes, you have to know why you're wanting to apply to each particular one. And then I'm going to just say that you said something I have said before too, and many people who applied to colleges back in the day will often say, "Oh, I don't know if I could get in today." And Joe Allen, God rest his soul, who was at I think the VP at USC, and
yes, I have a story about him.
Oh my gosh. He said, so I'm an alum of USC. So one day I went up to him, and he was a sort of mentor when I was new to admissions. And I said that to him. I said, oh gosh, I don't know if I could get into USC today. And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, I am confident you would have risen to the occasion, because that's what Trojans do. All right.
Well, that's the thing. Well, that was me being humble. I'll be honest. I really did belong at Cornell. I am really, and I can tell there is a kind of, that's the thing that most people don't realize. There's an essence to a lot of these schools. And I really did fit that profile. I really am. My friends and I are really similar. Like it's definitely birds of a feather flock together. So.
Which is why we get along so well. I mean, when Candice and I get to, so I can't remember how we got connected, but once we did, now we can't go less than 3 hours without, chit chat.
Oh my God. Yes. Cynthia, we'll share this later. Maybe we'll do like an after hours chat podcast, but We will sit for what we think will be a 2-hour dinner, maybe hour and a half. 4 hours later, 5 hours later, we emerge. The restaurants are like, what are you doing?
Kicking us out.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now I'm going to just say out loud for this podcast, if you're listening, if you are a parent of, or you are a student who is highly motivated, confident, has big dreams, is thinking HYPS kind of schools, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, you know exactly who I'm talking about. This podcast is for you, okay?
Yeah.
Now, most people who find me, who find both of us and what we do, are that kind of student.
Yeah.
But I will say, I just like to say, you know, Dream College Academy has students from all walks of life and from all ranges of GPA. And what is a dream college to any one person in Dream College Academy may be someone's safety school, so it's different. But this podcast is really for those students who are applying to colleges that admit fewer than 35% of their applicant pool. And I dare say really like fewer than 20%.
Oh
So
my God, yeah.
Be aware that when we're talking, take it with a grain of salt about why we are saying the things we're saying, or I'm going to really defer to Candice in this episode. Okay. So that's a great taste. Thank you for giving us a little of your journey. And again, I'll link to it in the notes, but I believe it's episode 29. So